Good evening. This is my submission for the writing strategy prompt process. I'm choosing health, grade level, middle school. So think 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Main topic on the daily lesson plan, would be, what's a good health topic? Let's start with the systems of the body. Okay, let's start with digestive system. I don't know why. Detail by talking me through how you're going to engage students with the process of writing into this lesson. Honestly, I would start it as a routine. That might look like first week, that might look like pull out your journal and write what you already know about the digestive system. All right, cool. Now that we're comfortable with pulling out our notebook and knowing that every day at this time we're going to write something. All right, we talked about this system. Tell me in your own words how this works. How does our digestive system work? And then I'm going to tell them, you got to smack talk just a little bit. You writing this is telling me whether you know it or you don't. Are you smart or are you not? Now they're in here trying to prove me wrong. I'm smart and I know it. Whole time, I already knew that. And then during notes, hey, I used to have not a drill sergeant, a JRTC instructor who would tap his foot twice. If this is going to be on the test, he'll tap his foot twice. Eventually, we started learning, that's twice. Let me write this down. So I might say, tidbit, and you can write down your notes, because I don't believe in policing people's notes. Some people truly do learn better with writing a few things or not writing notes at all, and they're just listening, or they can just look at it and do it, and that's fine. But if I'm telling you this is an important tidbit that's coming back on the test, you're probably going to want to write it down. How can this one piece of hair, man, I'm so sorry. In other words, how can you have students engaged in the writing process to help supplement, again, routine? Encouraging them and letting them know that regardless of what they thought they were going to come in here and do, you're writing. Reflection questions. The writing process often takes a significant amount of time to fully complete. How will you find this time in secondary classroom with content knowledge and skills to teach along with standard students? Growing up, we did a whole bunch of stop and drops, and I think that'll work. Also, I don't know how middle school and high school class times work, class blocks, I guess. But I see my elementary kids once a week for 50 minutes, and we still have time to do our do-nows. So I'm sure if I told them we're writing a paper, they would understand that it's just like our health corner. Health corner takes 25 minutes of the class, and then the remainder is PE play. So I feel like if you wanted to, you could do such a thing. Within your secondary content area classroom, which specific step of writing process do you believe to be most important and why? I think the outline is most important. The outline tells you exactly what's going to happen to this paper. Once you have your outline, put a few key. Well, it depends on how you do your outline. But when I do mine, I write my thesis statement. Once I have my thesis statement, I write like in the old terms. So this is not what it's going to say, but this article is about this, and that. I know that this, and that is going to be the topics of paragraphs 1, 2, and 3. I save my introduction for last because I feel like if you start with the introduction, you're locked into what you said in the introduction. And sometimes your mind changes, sometimes the argument changes. So keep the same thesis, change the paper how you need to, and then your introduction and conclusion are always last because they really don't matter. So your conclusion is exactly what you wrote about. So it's pretty easy stuff. Yeah, that's why I think the outline is the most important part. Thank you for your time. Good night.